Good evening. No, I'm not. Have a seat. We're a packed audience, which is great. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Freedom Lecture. Also welcome to all the people that are watching us online. And a very warm welcome to our guest of honor, Justyna Wydrzyńska. So in a few minutes, Justyna Wydrzyńska will give the Freedom Lecture, a little bit of an introduction. She co-founded Women on the Net and the Abortion Dream Team, if I'm correct. And it's an activist collective campaigning against the stigma on abortion and also offering advice on accession to safe abortion in Poland, the country that, after Malta, has the most restrictive laws in Europe when it comes to abortion rights. As I think you've all read, but she has been sentenced to 8 months of community service for assisting a woman by giving her an abortion pill. And I think she will tell us much more about the context in which she has to work and operate, and also maybe her personal relation to the story and to what drives her, and what she expects from Europe and maybe more from the Netherlands with regarding to helping women in Poland. After her Freedom Lecture, we have a small talk, and then I will invite Samira Rafaela to the stage. She's a member of the European Parliament and also part of the Commission on Women's Rights and Gender Equality. And I will invite Liliane Ploemen. She is a senior advisor to the Dutch Clara Wigman Foundation, a Dutch NGO, and she's a former member of the Dutch Parliament. And we will discuss the increasing power of the pro-life lobby on the political, on European politics, on national politics. We will discuss the role, but also the capability of the European Union in safeguarding women's rights. And last, how Dutch NGOs, and maybe more specific, how even Dutch doctors can help or be more of help to Polish women. But first, give a big round of applause for Justyna Wydrzyńska.
For me to stand here, I'm really, my hands are shaking, so please forgive me if I start to be understandable. So yes, my name is Justyna Wydrzyńska, and I've been helping with abortions in Poland for 17 years. On March 14th this year, I've been found guilty by a Polish court for helping in abortion. I was, sorry. Oh. We have some problems, I think. Oh, yes, these are the pictures from the court. I was convicted by sending my own set of abortion pills to Ania. It was the beginning of the pandemic. Ania was already 12 weeks pregnant, and she she couldn't go abroad. She wrote an email that she would terminate the pregnancy regardless of whether we help her or not. She was desperate and emphasized that the unwanted pregnancy was taking away her strength and the will to live, that she was trapped in a house by her partner. So I sent her abortion pills, but she couldn't use them because her abusive partner reported it to the police, who came to their house and took the pills. So how we got caught? The trial lasted 12 months. It was very difficult for me. I had 7 court hearings, and from the from the get to a minimal chance that it will be a fair verdict. The judge on the case was appointed politically. The recent years in Poland, the independent judiciary was dismantled by the right-wing populist government. The day of the verdict, the judge got a major promotion from the Minister of Justice. Additionally, an ultra-Catholic organization, a fundamentalist lawyers, joined the case to represent the interest of the fetus and its accessors. Pure absurd, because the fetus has no legal rights under the Polish law. This trial was a farce. Jurisdictional harassment and attempt to exhaust me and my activist colleagues through draining our resources, our time, our money, our mental and emotional energy. I am very glad that the first stage of the case is now behind me. So what is next? I am currently waiting for the hearing in the Court of Appeal, and my daily life, I just continue to help with abortions. Nothing much has changed for us activists. And if there is any silver lining to last year, I would hope that due to the campaign around the case and so many media interviews, more people know about safe abortion, and there is even more political agitation and around abortion in Poland. On a daily basis, my work was and still is to answer a phone Abortion Without Borders hotline. Every day from 8 to 8, you can call a number 2229225597 and get abortion support. Oh, this is the slide. Abortion Without Borders is a feminist grassroots initiative of right now 9 European groups to help people to get abortion pills, and so can they do abortion at home or help them travel abroad, especially in the second and third trimester of pregnancy, by arranging critical procedures, travels, accommodation, and very important, paying for abortions. We are not theoreticians. We provide practical assistance in abortion. We advise where to order safe pills, how to prepare for medical abortion, what will happen during the abortion, and we guide people through the entire process. Most people in Poland just use pills at home. In the last 2 years, 2,000 people went for the foreign clinics for surgical abortion with our help, actually mostly here to Netherlands. As Abortion Without Borders, over the last 2 years alone, we have helped more 100,000 people from Poland gain access to safe abortion. In the whole year 2021, Polish state provided 107 abortions in a total. We support 107 abortions every day as a state in a whole year. Is it well-known fact that in Poland, along with Malta, has the strictest anti-abortion laws in Europe? We used to have legal abortions up until 1993, when abortions rights were taken away as a thank you gesture to a Catholic Church and the Pope, John Paul II, for fighting communism. And just like that, one day, women's bodies and autonomy were traded off. And 2 years ago, the Constitutional Court, politicized by the government, banned abortion in the case of fetal defects. In the formal healthcare system in Poland, it's virtually impossible to get abortions. Every week, we receive stories of more women who tried to get abortion in a Polish hospital. They are treated in a hostile and patronizing manner by the Polish doctors. Ukrainian women asking us, why is it normal, like it's in Ukraine, when women dismissed with the words, not here, go around another hospital, but not given even any concrete referrals. Poland is a country with a long history of obstetric violence, when mostly gynecologists and obstetricians will still conduct medicine, as it's like a master and a servant relationship. Doctors call caps for their patients. I cannot. Oh. Sorry. Technology is over me. Doctors call caps on their patients. At Abortion Without Borders, we sometimes receive calls from terrified women who are in the hospitals at risk of sepsis. Doctors wait until the fetus dies naturally before taking any actions. But there is no possibility to save the fetus in the first place. Those fetuses are too young to survive. It's how Isa from Pszczyna and Agnieszka and recently Dorota died. Completely unnecessary, because cowards doctors choose to torture us. And wait till the fetus dies, even through the woman is likely to die first. Ironically, there is some amazing younger doctors who know the new standards and want to provide abortions, but they often are silent, penalized, ridiculed, and even forced to work abroad. We stand along with them. Recently, a doctor from a Polish hospital contacted us. She asked us to organize a trip to a Dutch clinic to learn modern methods of abortion in the second trimester. Because of every real health risk to a woman in Polish hospitals, stemming from negligence in providing care, lack of standards, and deep-rooted stigma, whenever we can, we send women to longer pregnancies to clinic, mostly to the Netherlands. But also Germany, Belgium, England, France, Czech Republic, or Austria. Yes, we export problem because it's too risky to trust it would be handled locally. Women are most always so surprised how humanly, nicely they have been treated here. We need a deep pro-patient reform in our healthcare system. Until then, the trauma of interreactions with local healthcare, where you have to beg for abortion and can be mistreated, is prevented by exporting the problem. But those trips constitute only 1% of all abortions we can help to arrange. Only 1%, but this is a very simple, most available method of terminating the pregnancy, especially in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy, a method which is recommended by World Health Organization, which is non-invasive, safe, safer than a tooth extraction, even safer than Viagra tablet. A method which, according to the WHO, doesn't require a doctor or an ultrasound and can be done at home by a pregnant person themselves. This method is abortion pill. Despite stereotypes, abortion with pills at home is in no way standard, but equally safe and recommended method as clinical procedures. In a sense, self-managed abortion embodies the principles of reproductive justice. Its practice against the control of various systems of oppression, like a law, the medicine costly market for abortions. The feminist movement in countries with restricted access to abortion embraced this method. For decades, we have been promoting the practice as a communal self-defense strategy against stigma and criminalization. The global activist movement for self-managed abortion is not led by the doctors, and we have been building new norms of how we care for each other with dignity and love. Abortion rights today are not anymore abstract of solutions or just healthcare. Abortion today is mostly about power and engagement. Most women in Poland and around the world take those abortion pills to terminate their pregnancies. I forgot my abortion pills. So these are those. The set of mifepristone and misoprostol. They request those pills from a Dutch-operated foundation, Women Help Women, and director of the organization is sitting here, Kinga Lińska, which mails those medicines to people's home addresses in Poland. Years ago, I ended also my pregnancy with this way too. I learned from my own experience that this is, in Poland, women cannot count on the state, doctors, or politicians, but they can count only on each other. Trial exposed me to real repression that are devastating to me. Yet, I still believe that any empathic person would choose to help another woman, even in the risk of their own safety. I know I would do it again. I feel like I'm not guilty, and I don't want to sound like a hero. I am deeply ethically repulsed by the idea of any guilt when you try to support somebody in realizing their human rights. Voluntary supporting other women is in need is never a crime. It's something any of us should be ashamed of. Helping with abortions is necessary in countries like Poland, when we activists are those who are reducing the harm the Polish anti-abortion law and stigma cause for last 30 years. However, I will not lie to you, it's not only Poland that could put me up in prison for handing those pills. To be honest, nearly all European countries, including those who financially support our work or write to Polish government demanding that their charges be dropped, any of them could bring me such charges against me providing these abortion drugs without appropriate license and criminalize the use outside of the absurdly over-regulated abortion care. Even here in Netherlands, a country associated with liberal abortion law, I could be prosecuted and convinced for doing just this, handing the abortion pills to somebody else. And we will do, with Kinga Lińska, reenactment of the crime. And for my colleague, it's also not allowed to take those abortion pills on her own, without a control, without the subject, and she would be subject to penalty, even though she is herself a competent abortion provider with 17 years of experience. Yes, have no illusion or doubts. Those simple and completely safe acts we just perform in front of you can be criminalized here. Old archaic regulations are still in place and prevent safe innovation and rational practices. European legislation and medical practices, not only in Poland, but Western European too, are significantly behind the scientific knowledge and the abortion guidelines of World Health Organizations. Almost every country has its own arbitrary conditions to make access to abortion difficult and criminalize abortion besides some arbitrary exceptions. The conditions are absurd, inconsistent with scientific knowledge, all above all inconsistent with the need of a woman and human rights standards. And you ask why? Because access to abortions has never been just a function of scientific evidence, but commitment to a human right for access to abortion to thrive or for our abortion well-being. We've been changed to, we need change. Sorry, I'm stressed. You ask why? Because access to abortion has never been just a function of scientific evidence and commitment to a human right for access to abortion to thrive, for our abortion well-being. We need change of norms and values in the society. I am appealing to you. Abortion cannot be an element of a political game. When abortion law falls under criminal code, like in Poland or in Netherlands, it creates a dangerous space of negotiations, judgment, and trade-offs. Narrow situation when the law decides who can or who cannot do abortion, how, why, and when. Those trades-off and exceptional situations are sometimes won by progressive parties, but sometimes they are won by fanatics. And who loses most are the pregnant people who need abortions. Abortion law and archaic over-medicized practices are not about commitment to scientific evidence. Very clear guidelines of WHO against any restrictions or human rights standards. Abortion access is politicized, and laws and medical practices are about profit and power, protected through the mirage of over-medicalization and criminalization. And believe me, there is a lot of profit and power to gain from abortion stigma and from not giving abortion back to common people. I have a honor to stand here in front of you today and feel it's my responsibility to call for decriminalization of abortion. Human rights matters, and simple, safe technology cannot be part of the criminal code. We deserve better. We can do better. And what is now in Europe, it's not good enough. We deserve full respect of our body autonomy. Join the campaign of decriminalization of abortion. We have not only moral right to demand decriminalization, but also evidence to back up this need. My trial in Poland showed that populist government in Poland has a big appetite to prosecute. Perhaps here in Holland, fortunately, there is no political appetite yet to prosecute, but my own trial has happened. And in the US, with the overturn of Roe versus Wade, should be a cautionary tale of all of us. We at Abortion Without Borders are often asked by people in Europe how they can help. We appreciate a lot this interest. International solidarity and support truly helped me during my trial. The Netherlands is a very special place to me. I think few Dutch people realize how crucial and essential the self-organizing of feminists in the Netherlands is for abortion in Poland. You should be proud. You should be very proud and grateful for my colleagues here. Please allow me and also forgive me for being very straightforward in my ask. I am a practitioner and I speak from the perspective of real, concrete needs of people who need abortions. Firstly, and maybe most obviously, abortion care abroad costs a lot of money. As Abortion Without Borders, we have spent over 2 million Polish zloty. It's about €500,000 on travel for women. When people go abroad, mostly to Holland, and concretely to Amsterdam, to Haarlem, we need to pay to the clinics because that's how the system is organized here. Usually more than €1,500 per individual for travel and for procedure. Those who travel are supported logistically and financially by the Amsterdam-based collective Abortion Network Amsterdam, as well as newly founded SAFE. Both those groups are members of Abortion Without Borders. In the past, we received financial support not only from individual donors, but also from some European countries countries. One of them was Belgium, in the initiative of the Minister of Equality. Such support goes beyond simple matter of money. It gives a clear sign to Europe. Abortion access is considered as a women's human right matter. Truth to be told, we need more such support. Every day, at least 7 women go to the foreign clinics with the help of Abortion Without Borders. We don't want people to continue unwanted pregnancies only because they cannot pay for the abortions. However, while 7 women travel every day, the majority in Poland, at least another 100 a day, take abortion pills. Most of them with the support of Dutch-operated foundation, Women Help Women, run by Polish immigrants to the Netherlands, my colleagues who understand the Polish reality and needs, and fierce advocates alongside us based in Poland. And here comes the second request. We need the possibility to run mail service for abortion pills to Poland from here, with the opportunity to purchase and send pills from here, locally in Holland, as a human right and an emergency intervention. They unfortunately don't have it now. And MPs from Holland, Corinne Ellemet, met with us and initiated a request to grant them this support, even as a matter of humanitarian exception. This would make a huge change for all of us. It would make our network and activists safer, operation more sustainable, cut costs, and help more people. Women Help Women needs this political and operational support from here, the single largest provider of safe abortion care in Poland. And lastly, women human rights defenders in time of backlash on abortion rights need protection. Political protection, solidarity, resource to protect ourselves, and should it come to the worst, possibility to shelter. This is my third and the last request. Users and providers of self-managed abortion are in danger of prosecution, even though those practices are medically perfectly safe. Decriminalization and protective measurements for human rights activists are necessary today in Europe. And I want to thank all the people who supported us in the trial, and especially Amnesty International for the campaign on my behalf. The effort my colleagues and I put in the campaigning go beyond my case. The support we galvanized, the alliance we built, the doors we opened, even the speeches I gave, like today, are in honor of for those who in the future the future protection of all women, helping other women in abortion, and all the activists who may soon face prosecution for providing abortion care and standing out to oppression. To all abortion activists out there and women facing jurisdictional harassment and criminalization now and the future, I and my colleagues are here for you. We will share all we know and be available to fight if we need it. Thank you, and this is an honor for me to be here with you.
Wow, you've told us so much, and you had such clear questions, and I'm just processing it all also. So just some questions for me. Yeah, what was the impact of the trial? Because I heard you say something like the silver lining was that more people heard of us. Did this also lead that you were, that you had even received more questions for help by Polish women, or what were all the side effects of the trial?
First of all, there was a very good side effect because we know that after every trial we receive more calls. Also on a helpline of Women Help Women, they receive also more emails. The number of Abortion Without Borders were like screamed every time on the protest in front of the court. Really, people got this message that we are for them, even if they cannot pay for abortions, even if they cannot have abortion at home, they can contact us, they can ask us direct questions how we can help them. And it was the goal, one of the goals for us, to increase knowledge about activists, abortion activists in Poland, to increase the knowledge that Abortion Without Borders can pay for abortions for those who cannot afford the cost. I think we won in this part of the game.
Did you, because I think we all remember the huge demonstrations in Poland when those more restrictive laws were, did you also receive support during your trials from more the progressive population of Poland?
I receive a lot of support from left parties.
Yeah.
The left MPs, especially women, they've been every time in the courtroom when the hearings happened. Yes, there was a huge support among the Polish society. Amnesty International Polish part did research. They made a polls, and among young people, those around 25 years old, it was 54% of those said that they would do the same. And 48 above this age said they would do the same. So I think we got really a huge support. I mean, because I think this is not only my case. This is the case of all the abortion activists in Poland. Because it could happen to anyone. It just happened to me. I think this is the big step, really big step. And also because of the protest of changing the law by the Constitutional Tribunal and many things which happened through the last years, the Polish society, there are polls which shows that more than 70% of the society really accept the situation of abortion on demand up to 12 weeks. So the change has happened.
Yeah, because next month, if I'm correct, there are also elections. Does abortion rights play any role in these elections, or are they a marginal subject?
Yes, election will happen in 15th of October, and abortion is one of the biggest subject in this election. There is a lot of campaigns to engage young people because of abortion rights. There is a lot of discussion, and one of the subjects among all the debates are abortion rights.
I think that when there's a human rights defender or an activist, we hear all those brave stories, but now the last years there's also been more attention to self-care of activists. And we hear you talk, about all the struggles that you are facing, but how do you manage to keep your head up?
I really hate this kind of question because I really don't do self-care. And maybe this is wrong, but we don't have time. We really have a lot of people to help, and a lot of people rely on us. And there is no time for us right now to do self-care. Sorry.
Does the responsibility feel as a burden or as like the fire that gets you up every day?
Rather the fire that keep us every day.
Well, thank you. I will invite now, because I think we have to talk about Europe, right? And about the Netherlands. So I want to invite Samira Rafaela and Liliane Ploemen. Please. Welcome. Thanks. Yeah, my first question is, you hear these stories, and how did we end up here in Europe? I know it's a broad question, but just if you both could name one factor that, how did we end up here?
Well, I think, of course, one very important element is the electoral success of right-wing conservative parties, supported by funding from the United States, from Russia, from Spain, teaming up with, well, the usual suspects being, you know, the Catholic Church, for example. So I think that's really one factor. And the other factor, I mean, I'm going to say it, but which is not to say that I totally agree, because many people also say that we became too complacent and that we were not alert enough, we as activists. And I disagree with that, because we've been working with many people to try and make our own laws more progressive, in order also to be and stay a safe haven for the ones who do not live in countries where abortion is possible. But we've also, in the Netherlands, there has been a lot of pushback. I mean, we've made good strides in the past years. For the first time in 40 years, our laws were modernized. There was like a waiting period of 5 days if you want an abortion. It took us 40 years to get rid of it. So, I mean, it was all hard work. So it's like, it's not that easy to make progress, actually. And so I do think that, you know, everyone is awake now, and also in our country and other countries. I'm sure that Samira will talk to that. Also in the European Union, abortion, human rights, self-determination, it's again on the political agenda, which is also good news for us.
Yeah, Samira, do you want to add, or can I ask you a question? Or?
Yes, you can ask a question.
Yeah, I was like, just for us to be clear, does the EU have any binding laws when it comes to safeguarding the rights to abortion?
Oh, this is exactly what a lot of members of European Parliament are working on right now. I mean, I am the SRHR coordinator for my group, Renew Europe, the Liberals in the European Parliament. And of course, we have very serious reasons to think about uniforming EU law when it comes to legal and safe abortion, because we see that the member states are basically implementing different laws, different kind of laws. I mean, if you can imagine, 31 European countries do not have the access to abortion financially covered as part of the health package. And then in 26 European countries, it is allowed for health workers to say, no, I am not going to conduct it. So the conscience clause. And then, for example, in Italy, 70% of the health workers refuse. And even in the more conservative areas in Europe, it's up to 87% of health workers refusing it. So this is why within my liberal group, indeed, we came up with the idea, with the serious idea, that we need to have the right to legal, safe abortion in our EU treaties and charter, because obviously, you know, the member states and European countries in general have so many policy space and actually lawmaking space to not respect the self-determination and bodily autonomy of women.
Can you explain to us, because I read that in 2022, the European Parliament voted for a resolution on the entry of abortion rights into the Charter of Fundamental Rights of the EU.
Exactly.
But it remained without effect. So what is the difference between the treaty and this and a charter and...
Oh, it was only in 2022, so yes. I mean, when we speak about reforming our treaties, then that is something. Yeah. I mean, it's a very long distance strategy. So it's only, you know, an idea that is basically being put on the agenda since, I would say, 1 year or so, very seriously, because reforming treaties does not happen every single day. And I mean, we are building upon the work of, for example, Lilian Ploemen, our former minister, that, you know, decided this very beautiful and necessary initiative she decides. So, I mean, we're still building upon initiatives that took place only years ago, and we're trying to make, you know, the next steps in it. But we experience a lot of resistance in society at this moment.
When you were telling, in how many countries, abortion laws are still, in so many ways not protected. If I'm not correct, but the European Parliament is I'm still looking for this word, afspiegeling. Reflection? Is a reflection of the politics of all those different national countries. So then I'm thinking, like, how can you ever get this through the European Parliament if there's, so many backlash?
Well, at least you have the European Parliament now, but also within the European Parliament, we face a lot of conservative and ultra-conservative powers against us, working against us. And in general, I mean, what is happening now also is that these anti-gender, I call them the anti-rights movements, are organizing very well. I mean, this is also what, she decides. The initiative also found it out that this is a transatlantic strategy, very well coordinated, very well financed, and these anti-gender movements, they integrate into lawmaking, into policy making. They enter our institutions, our democratic institutions. So it's not even only the politicians or the political dynamics that we're dealing with. We're also dealing with these very well organized anti-gender, anti-rights lobby groups that I think should not be allowed within our democratic institutions. But when I say something like that, then for the whole weekend, Geert Wilders and journalists are pissed off with me. And
then do you say we should we don't want that kind of lobbyist? Or do you think that, because I think you could say that Clara Wigman Foundation can also be seen as a lobbyist group on the other side, I can imagine.
But we are there for universal human rights, and those groups are not.
Yes.
That's like the basic difference, I would say. I mean, we can have a very complex debate on it, but that's like how it is. Yeah.
No, and Justyna, I was wondering, do you think that Poland will ever be open to treaty changes?
Wow. I mean, we will have election very soon. And yes, we will see, like, after 15th of October, what will change and how it will change.
Like in the Netherlands, it's always difficult to make people very enthusiastic to vote for the European elections. They don't really see the importance of it. How is this in Poland?
I think same. People don't know, maybe don't realize how important it is to vote for the European MPs. But we have some good representatives in European Parliament.
From Poland,
From
yes.
Poland, yes, there are a few.
Rosa Thun, for example, yeah.
Do you work together? Like, is it a big international coalition you're working with?
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, we have also the very progressive MEPs, for example, from Poland. And if you talk to them, you hear, a lot about these very terrible stories that the experiences that they have, of course, for speaking out in Poland, in their own country. So what is, of course, very necessary is that we need to make sure that people participate in elections, Europe broadly, because when it comes to the rule of law, we have still a lot of issues going on. Yeah.
The same year, November 22. I mean, check all the party programs, because I think this is the time to make a strong push to do what Justyna asks from us, to decriminalize abortion in the Netherlands, because also in the Netherlands, abortion is still in the criminal code. With very detrimental impact on women. I mean, it kind of sustains the taboo and the stigma.
Why is that?
Why
What kind of political power has ensured that it's still in the criminal?
Well, it's been there forever, and I think in the past 10 years, everyone has taken a step-by-step approach to make also our own policies more progressive. I think that's one reason. The second is that for a long time we thought if in practice, every person who needs an abortion can get an abortion safely, legally, affordable, then maybe this is not like the priority. However, with everything that's going on in the world and the pushback and the backlash, I do think that also in the Netherlands this would be a very important step. And so there has been a citizens' initiative signed by, I think, 90,000 people. Probably you all signed. Except from the person from the conservative side who is here to see what we're talking about. And so, which means that it had to be debated in Parliament, and it was. And so we hope, and this is really a call, party political call also, that one of the largest parties in the Netherlands at this time, the largest, the VVD, will also support our initiative to do that. And again, I mean, if you vote and you care about this, and you should care about this because it's about all of us and many issues, then please, you know, vote well on November 22. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Justyna, I mean, that's what we need to do, no?
Yes, and we need kind of example country who decriminalize abortion as a first country. Then I think, and I have this hope, that there will be more European countries.
Is there not one European country that has decriminalized abortion?
Yeah, I think Sweden has.
Sweden.
Yeah. And Northern, yeah.
Ireland is a good
and very recently, Mexico decriminalized. I mean, there's many countries in the world. It's like, there's a Mexican over there. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, because also, I mean, of course, listening to Justyna talking about the situation in Poland and in many other countries, you do sometimes think, you know, it's not going anywhere. But if you look at the world map, then in the past 2 to 3 years, big strides have been made. I mean, the US is basically an exception, a country that is facing a backlash. In many countries all around the globe, on all continents, abortion is decriminalized, becoming more accessible to more women, more affordable, more legal, if you want to use that term. So we should, I mean, there's many very positive developments that we can draw energy and inspiration from.
I was thinking, Justyna, because if I understood correctly or not, do you also receive funding from outside Poland for?
We received twice. It was twice from the Belgian government and once from the French government,
but
the
also
financial support.
Also from foreign NGOs?
Sometimes they support Abortion Without Borders also with some grants.
Because I was thinking with how Polish politics is developing, that aren't you running the risk, like in Russia, for example, that if you receive foreign money, you're seen as, you know, as a spy organization. Is this something that is concerning you?
The bank, maybe this is not a good word, but the organization who is running the money is outside of the country. So this is not like, because for us it would be risky to pay for abortions.
That's with reason that you have it outside of the country.
Yes, this is why we build a network. This is why some organizations run from outside of the Poland. And for us, like being in Poland, paying for somebody's abortion can be risky. And we cannot do it. What we can do legally in Poland is just give information.
It's given, yeah. And also for me to clarify, because it is officially criminal for a Dutch organization right now to send abortion pills to Poland, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, because, well, the Geneesmiddelenwet, the law on medicine, yeah, it says up till now that a doctor needs to be able to see a patient to describe whatever medicine. So that's a generic rule. However, that will be changed. And so that might also be helpful for, in this case, our minister has, or the Minister of Health, our Minister of Health has presented this this idea, and they're working. I think they're working on the technical details now. So But
it
it's
is
generic. It's for
Yeah.
all medicine. So
yeah, but it's happening already. But it just was never it was never there was never a sentencing or a conviction.
Well, I think the organizations like Women on Web and Women Help Women, they abide to the law, and they have other ways of making sure that they can do their work. They're not breaking the law. I think it's quite important to say that.
Yeah.
Kinga, yeah.
Yeah, I was still thinking about this European Parliament and the power it has and the power it hasn't, because of course the anti-European political parties everywhere in Europe are always saying we do not want European interference into our national laws and ethics and morals. But since many more countries are becoming right-wing conservative, this also of course changed the European Parliament. And shouldn't we also be a little bit careful that in the end that will not influence our national progressive politics? Do you see that danger or not?
Yeah, but I'm already dealing with that danger. I mean, it's exactly what's happening right now. It's exactly why we're having these debates in the European Parliament where, for example, sometimes, you know, anti-LGBTI rights and trans rights is being spread in terms of communication and language. It's the reason why I and two other MEPs went to President Metsola to demand stronger rules against hate speech internally during our debates, because it's not going in the right direction at this moment. And what we see indeed in the Council is that we are dealing with member states that have these very conservative and ultra-conservative governments that easily just veto whenever they want, or whenever, you know, we speak about these kind of topics when it comes to bodily autonomy or self-determination. And we do have some interesting instruments, I think, that at the moment are helpful. I mean, for example, we have this rule of law mechanism integrated in the EU budget, so that, for example, we can take away funding or subsidies from the Polish government or the Hungarian government when they breach the rule of law. I mean, it did happen already in the case of the LGBTI free zones. Just terrible. So, but we need to go further. I mean, we also need to be more bold, I think, and especially the Council needs to be more bold by taking away, for example, the veto right of Poland in this case, or the voting right in general in this case. And what we see in practice is that the European Commission is, you know, often sticking with a warning and then to say, yeah, we might, you know, start this procedure against you, but it should not remain with a warning. I mean, I would love to see more court cases also against Poland and Hungary, for example. But I really think that we're having this momentum right now in the Parliament, but also I would say partly in the Council that that we want to reform decision making, that we want to be more bold when it comes to the sanction mechanism that we can use. And it's very important also for the European Commission. I know that they are very aware of that, to keep funding and supporting also the civil society in, for example, Poland. And at the same time, I'm like, yes, so that means that you need to make sure that you defund the organizations that are going against, you know, the rights that we're trying to protect. And we also, in terms of foreign interference, I asked for an investigation. We're still waiting, sort of, for the outcomes of that. But when it comes to foreign interference, we see a lot of foreign interference from Russia, for example, but also from the US and these, you know, these oligarchs, for example, that are funding these kind of organizations.
Yeah.
And that needs to stop.
Yeah. You said a few times in your lecture, I'm very practical. When it comes to practicality, then is it for you, do you really focus your attention on, you know, on countries, on states to help you, or do you also really need the European Union in order to help you?
For us right now, it's that we ask specific countries because we know that some laws, or we have led us to help other people, or we have groups or networks inside those countries which we can be easily in contact with to organize trips for people or be in contact with hospitals. But of course, we on the ground of European Union, especially we would need kind of support to open hospitals, especially for those who are in a second, third trimester with fetal abnormalities and cannot get abortions, for example, in clinics because there are some obstacles and medical reasons why they cannot use those procedures. And we, especially in European Union, we can use this European insurance to not pay for the abortions because it really costs a lot, even if we have those in clinics or in the hospitals. 1,000 for the procedure is a lot, not only for the Polish people. So on the European level, I think that it would be very good for the network for Abortion Without Borders if you could use each European hospital to get abortions, legal abortions in the hospitals, especially in the third trimester with the fetal abnormalities.
Are there questions? Please raise your hand and then a mic will come to you. Oh yeah, if you could share the mic for this, yeah, great.
Great, thank you. Maybe first one to Mrs. Justyna. Dziękuję bardzo za występ. Mega. And the question will be about the Polish government, because as far as I know, in 1956, the Polish Civil Codex was changed and stated that no woman will be prosecuted for abortion. So I was just wondering, how is it possible that the Polish government actually goes against these changes? Also, the Polish constitution clearly states that every Polish citizen has right given by law and God to govern their own body. So again, the Polish government, which is quite conservative wing right now, is going against those laws?
In Poland, actually, every person who had abortion by herself or himself is not criminalized. So if I will go to any doctor or will go to any person and say that I have had my own abortion by myself, I will not be punished in any way. I will be not criminalized. But the helping is a crime in Poland. In laws from 93 and also the penal code from 97, there is those laws criminalize people who actually helping. But this law is very old. This is from the time when nobody knew that there've been some kind of pills for us. So this is the laws which punished doctors who've been doing the abortions in the private practice, and there were laws for leave women completely alone, afraid to ask anyone for help. We, as activists, and especially me personally, I don't agree with the explanation of the law, because giving a pill to a person, it's not like a helping, actually. I'm not deciding if she's having the abortion or not. So the explanation of this law is tricky. But of course, the prosecution and the judges, the court, is using those laws against those who still they point as a person who is aiding in abortion.
Because we've talked about the silver linings of your prosecution, but did it also had a backlash on Polish people that were helping women with abortion that were, got really scared with your case?
Not for those who helping, but women who actually having the abortion. Even in this year, we have few situations that, especially doctors who got this knowledge that women have had abortion, reported it to the police, and police were looking for the fetuses in many different places. And if people have some proofs that abortion has happened, and or the partner or part of the family member like reported that yes, I helped to organize the pills, so then this person have this prosecution, and they've got charges. So we have these cases right now. So the police is not actually chasing the women, but by chasing and harassing women, they chase the people who actually help them. Yeah. And we know that helping is very common because we love people close to us and we want them to feel happy. So it's normal for us to help like each other. Like we know from the phone number that from the helpline that even mothers help their daughters and daughters help mothers, friends help their friends, and it's happening. People really do this. But police is really interested about those who actually help and needs some proofs that their help was done.
Yes.
My question is regarding the cases that you mentioned earlier, that women have died of septic shock when doctors refused to assist or help them in the hospital. So I was wondering, considering that these doctors have violated their oath in the end, will there be legal consequences? Thank you.
Yes, there is an investigation going, and there are some legal consequences for them to not save life of women which actually should have abortions and could live. So yes.
Forgive my ignorance, and I think I just heard earlier you mentioned that there are the conservative powers that be that have a financial interest in obviously stopping abortions. And I imagine there's a lot of people who have very strong ethical feelings about abortions, but what I can't quite wrap my head around are these very well-organized NGOs and lobby groups that would fight for people not to receive abortions. And so what I'm failing to understand is what is the financial gain? Because somewhere someone's making money, and maybe that's the cynic in me, but I don't understand what the money is to be made in stopping people from getting abortions. I don't believe people are ethically just motivated because they believe in the right of life. So what is it that is prompting these oligarchs and other lobby groups to fight against abortion?
I mean, whether you like it or not, it's a strong belief that a lot of people have in this world, you know, that are just, they call it modern values, they call it modernization of society, whatever. But I'm always like, there's nothing modern about this. I mean, people are born this way. It has always been like that, but it's because you, or whatever the norm was, decided that something is abnormal. And there is this new generation now, and there is a generation, and we also have our former minister here, who is part of that generation that also started to fight for it. That this is how we should accept society and people. And there is this strong core belief, traditional belief and conservative beliefs behind it. Because they also notice that it comes with power and status. So when they manage effectively, you know, to implement their strategies, take, for example, in these democratic institutions, whether it's the European Parliament or the UN or powerful institutions, then you gain status and power, and then you can influence. Then you can influence also a lot of other policies. So it's a combination of, you know, the own traditional intrinsic belief that people have in these movements and also these oligarchs, versus realizing that they can gain power and status for whatever they would like to do for their own. So yes, I mean, I'm also like, whenever I'm in a debate with my ultra-conservatives colleagues, I'm like, how can you think like that? How can you be like this? I just don't understand, really. And sometimes I had some moments that I really needed to cry because it makes me very desperate sometimes. But it's the intrinsic belief they have, you know? So it also comes to education. We need to educate society. We need to make sure that that for example, what's happening now in Europe also is that certain schools are being closed, or certain content is now being forbidden, for example, to teach children about the identity, who they are, who they want to be, you know, and that's a dangerous development. But yeah, we need to educate society, in essence.
Do you want to add something to that or not? No. I had a question, because I think with many feminist subjects, there's the subject of abortion. You also have a lot of women who are on the pro-life side. And I'm really curious also, as a feminist, how do you deal, you know, with other women that have such strong opposing beliefs when it comes to a woman's body?
We never discussed like about somebody's beliefs. As an activist, as a person who is helping abortion. But we know that those people who have these hard beliefs, they also sometimes need abortion. And then we don't say no. We just say, okay, we are for you, like for anyone else. So this is our like strategy. We help every person who needs abortion, and that's it.
Maybe to add, a couple of years ago, there was a very successful campaign in Ireland to decriminalize abortion. It was one of the most severe, I mean, except Malta and Poland, rules and regulations. And the campaign motto was, "Someone you love will need an abortion one day." And many people in Ireland were against the right to have an abortion, just because that was what everyone around them thought. And they never gave it like an extra thought on what it really could mean in the lives of people, until a young woman of, I think, 32 died because no doctor would help her with her medical problem with the fetus. And then suddenly people thought, why are women dying for something that I think I believe in? And so to get people thinking about it I think is really important. And I think, like Justyna said, it can be your sister, your neighbor, and so to personalize what it is about is very important, I would suggest.
Yeah.
I mean, I deal a lot with these women. Also on social media, for example, there's a very, you know, well-organized group on social media that are basically saying to other women like us, that we are threatening women's rights. We do not respect women's rights because, for example, we are in favor, or we protect trans rights, for example. And indeed, also the group of women that are against legal and safe abortion. And to me, that's very difficult to have a debate with. Of course, I mean, I cannot imagine that as being a woman yourself, you cannot, you know, you do not have the imagination. I mean, we all know how it feels to have this body. So why can you not have this imagination if someone else wants it? I mean, it's your belief, these are your values, but what gives you the power to judge for another woman? And that's something that until today I cannot understand, and that I do not have a lot of respect for, to be honest, because it really, you bring other women into danger. And it's very dangerous how many other women are acting based on their own beliefs and do not help other women in these kind of situations. And I think, you know, I always say if all women would have had the same opinion in this, and at least they would not work against it, then we would have made so much more progress, you know? And that's a really serious issue that we're dealing with.
Yeah, very painful. Yeah, there was someone over there with a question in the corner.
Coming to you. Hi, thank you. Oh, is it working? Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for everything you've already said and elaborated on. And I was wondering, because this anti-gender movement or anti-rights movement, whatever you prefer, is so well organized, so well funded, so has such a broad network. I'm thinking what is happening, for example, in Poland, but maybe in also European member states, in organizing the pro-rights side of things. Because, I mean, there's less funding, that's for sure. But then at the same time, to be able to withstand this huge movement, also gaining more influence here in Europe, there has to be some kind of coalition forming in Poland, maybe in Hungary. How is that working?
From many years, we try to, as Abortion Dream Team, we started to travel around the Poland to build a network of local organizations around the country. We started this in 2016. I think we did it in a kind of success because we know people in almost like big cities where to contact if there is a kind of need or like if we need like spread some leaflets, stickers. There is a lot of people who we can get in contact with. Also, we saw that people are much braver when they, for example, organize some events. But it's not that we would wish that it would look like. Still, we need a lot of work to be done to build a strong pro-abortion network, because this is hard work, actually, to help other people in abortion and to be like a normal person and have a day-to-day work and be an activist. This is really hard, and we know that people can change their mind and leave this activism. But in my opinion, it's much better than it was before 2016, but still not enough for us to be strong.
Yeah, because Liliana, I was thinking, because you initiated She Decides, this was, I think, in the context of the US, what happened in the US when Trump forbid international NGOs to help with, of American NGOs with abortion. Is She Decides still up and running, and what is it doing in a European context, or maybe at the Clara Wigman Foundation?
No, it's a great global movement with many young people mainly that are very active. So I'm following them closely, but I don't have like an official position, because I feel that at one point you also need to vacate your position and make sure that other people can also have a say. And so they mainly work in Asia, Latin America, and Africa with, as I said, mainly young activists. And they have been discussing last year, like, what should the priority be? Where are we most needed? And they decided that next to access to safe and legal abortion, also access to sexuality education is very important. I mean, and when they came up with that idea, I could have never thought that also in the Netherlands we had that, you know, enormous pushback on Lentekriebels, the campaign, an educational program in Netherlands, which has been running forever. I mean, luckily it has. And so they have, well, I mean, their activism is very much geared towards the right issues, I would say. And now at the UN General Assembly, when everyone comes together in, well, not everyone, we're here, but many people gather in New York, there's also events where politicians, ministers are asked to speak up on the right to bodily autonomy, which of course continues to be very important also at, you know, the UN and other venues where we also see the debate that Samira talked about, like, you know, who is a woman and who decides who a woman is. It's a very toxic debate, but it's also infiltrating in many international debates. So it's very good that, you know, there's still many politicians in power that speak up. And I have to say that the Belgian Prime Minister, Alexander De Croo, he was like, you know, with me like in the first 5 minutes when the idea came up. He's still very strong and outspoken. And so, yeah.
And Les, I thought, let's go to your second demand. Do you know it by head or should we see it on the PowerPoint? Because it was a very practical, clear demand. And I thought maybe you, as an advisor to the Clara Wichmann, can we go through the PowerPoint or not? It was...
First was money.
Yeah. This it was the one before.
Second was, I think, decriminalize abortion. Yeah.
This was it was so practical. Can the Clara Wichmann Foundation, for example, help in this matter?
Well, I mean, as we are where we are now, it's against the law in the Netherlands. I mean, that's just how it is. And so people like Inga with Women Help Women and Women on the Web, they use other routes to make sure that abortion pills can be accessible for women in Poland, for example. And as I said, hopefully when this law on pharmaceuticals changes, it will be possible for medical professionals in the Netherlands to describe medication, any medication, without actually meeting with a patient. And so that could be an additional opportunity. Yeah.
And then in your utopian world, would it always go through you for the organization, or do you want individual Polish women to ask an individual Dutch doctor, you know, for the pills?
We would love telemedicine, really. It's practically used in Poland. For example, for contraceptive pills, we use telemedicine for this. Really, for us, it would be easy to have this possibility to have pills like on the shelves in the shops, but of course it's impossible. We know that this method is very safe and we don't need prescriptions for this. But if could be this possibility that pills can come from Netherlands, it could be really a perfect match for us because it's, like I said, cost cut, safe for the activists, and we don't risk a lot of things.
Yeah, I think in the Netherlands we're really lagging behind here because, as Justyna explained, the World Health Organization says telemedicine is perfectly safe. It's administered in many parts of the world. And so we just made abortion pills, recently made abortion pills available through the general practitioner, which to some was a huge step. But if you look at, again, the guidelines of the World Health Organization, I mean, we're really lagging behind here. And so I think everyone here is doing what they can. Also, the clinics are doing are very helpful here in the Netherlands, but we really need to take a few steps here and decriminalize abortion also in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think there are still, of course, a lot of work to do in Poland. There's still a lot of work to do on the EU level, and there's also still a lot of work to do in the Netherlands. So I think that is our conclusion for tonight. Let's roll up our sleeves and work. And thank you, Lilian Ploemen. Thank you, Samir Rafele, and a big applause also for Justyna Wydrzyńska. Thank you. And one last thing, because Amnesty is here, and I know they have a petition, which is, maybe, I don't actually know where the petition is exactly about, so maybe someone can tell me, that's better, because you can sign it. Can somebody tell me what the petition is directly about?
Yeah, can I maybe just read what we're calling upon?
Yeah.
So, dear Prosecutor General, I call on you to take all necessary measures to ensure that Justyna Wydrzyńska, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, unjust conviction is overturned, and to refrain from bringing any other charges against her for carrying out her legitimate defense of human rights. She was convicted for helping a woman in an abusive relationship access a safe abortions. Her conviction sets dangerous precedent. And then yours sincerely. And
okay. So please go sign that petition. It's over here. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.